What's going on, everyone? I hope y'all enjoyed that scene featuring my young sister, Gabby. It was her first time on camera, and I think she did a fantastic job. She's a little on the weirder and quirkier side, and so I wanted to do something unique with her, something eerie. And we had access to this old rundown home with an underground tunnel-like feel that would be perfect to film a scene like this. And in this video, I want to talk about how I lit the tunnel using my new NANLITE PAVOTUBE 30Xs, and a little bit about what went into the editing and sound design to bring the scene to life. I've had these tube lights for over a month now, and I've used them on a few different shoots. I love their portability and the soft diffused light that they give, making them perfect for a key light, fill light, and a hair or rim light. The house I made the scene with my sister in had no electricity, and so I thought that it would be perfect to put these lights to the test, given that they're battery powered and would mimic the overhead lighting that would normally be found in a tunnel like this. I started with the light at the entrance of the tunnel, and I used two magnetic clips made for the tubes and attached them to a metal pole that ran along the ceiling of the tunnel. I set it to around 2700 Kelvin to give it that nice warm tungsten light, and had it at roughly about 5% brightness. Further down the hall, I hung my second tube light, and because I only had one set of metal clips, I used zip ties to hang this one from the ceiling. The cool thing about these lights is that they're really portable and really easy to maneuver, and you can put them just about anywhere. For the second tube down the hallway, I wanted to give a more eerie feel, so I wanted to give the appearance of a flickering bulb going bad. And for this, I used the NANLINK app and set the effect mode for the tube to bad bulb. I turned the brightness down to about 1% and set it to flicker at random intervals. Even at 1% brightness, I still felt like it was a little too strong and the flicker was too bright. But since then, I've played around with the settings and I feel like I found something that would probably be able to emulate that a little bit better next time. The third and final light that I used was a small LED light panel that I stuck at the last room at the end of the tunnel. That way the room would have a soft, warm glow coming off of it instead of it being just completely dark. This is what the tunnel looked like without any lights. This is what the LED panel added, then adding the second tube down the hallway, and finally the first tube at the entrance. To add a bit of atmosphere, I also used a fog machine powered by a generator that I had outside of the tunnel to add a bit of haze and texture to the air. I had my sister walk slowly down the hallway, getting perspectives from both the front and rear side of her face. When a room opened up to her left, I panned the camera over to reveal an old wooden doll that was sitting amongst some old furniture. The doll I found at an antique store and I thought would work perfectly to place in this specific shot to foreshadow the twist at the end of her transforming into the doll. For the final scene, as she walked into the room at the end of the tunnel, I moved the tube light from the entrance and hung it over an old chair that I also got at the antique store for about $10. For the final scene, I panned my camera slowly from right to left and then recreated that exact movement after switching her out and placing the doll there with the book in its hand. This way, I was able to combine the two using a glitch effect and show that somehow reality had been distorted and the doll had taken her place. To really sell that cut, I added the sound effect of the glitch happening, which brings me to my next topic, which is the sound design of this video. With the help of my cousin Nico, I recorded live audio of things like her footsteps in the tunnel, her sitting in the chair, opening the book, and even turning the page. We recorded this using a Zoom H6 and a condenser mic attached to a boom pole. This allowed me to have really clean audio that I could then sync in the edit. I also added a lot of additional sound effects like the flickering bulb, the glitch sounds, the spooky whispers coming from the doll, and a low vibrating hum in the background to fill the space in the tunnel. The majority of the sound effects I used, other than what I recorded, came from the Archetype Cinematic Sound Pack from Lens Distortions. An example of how I added background sound is this sound effect with a low pass filter added. Or this sound that added some bass and gave the video a bit more rhythm and kind of an ominous feel. This video was shot entirely using a vintage Canon FD 24mm lens, which gave it that subdued, muted look, a bit more softer on her face, and I think complemented the footage very well. I'm pretty happy with how the scene turned out, and while there are things that I would definitely do differently next time, I wanted this to be an exercise in cinematography, lighting, and sound design. Everything for me is a learning experience as I continue to develop myself as a director and filmmaker, and I'm happy to be able to share with you guys what I'm working on and what works or doesn't work for me personally. That wraps up this video, and if you're still here, I'm really grateful for you, and I'd hope you'd consider liking, subscribing, and sharing this with your friends. As always, I hope y'all stay well, and have a blessed day.